In this video, we'll go over how to place a corner suture in an X-shaped stellate wound. Your first step will be to start at the farthest edge, or the farthest flap, and you're going to suture perpendicular to the wound towards another flap edge, suturing towards yourself. You're going to enter epidermal, but you'll be exiting subcuticular within the wound itself. Next, you'll rearm the needle to suture parallel to the wounds. You're going to basically be changing 90 degrees in the plane in which you are suturing. You'll take that adjacent flap edge and you'll retract it with forceps. And now you're going to proceed to suture in a subcuticular fashion, so basically parallel with the skin as pictured here. And you want to be really mindful to stay in the same subdermal plane throughout the stitch. For the next step, you're going to rearm the needle and you're going to again suture parallel to the wound, so in the same plane that you just were. This one will likely be the most awkward. You're going to need to kind of backhand it, so make sure you have your needle armed correctly and ergonomically. Again, I'd recommend using your forceps and retracting that next adjacent flap edge. And you'll once again suture in a subcuticular fashion, parallel with the skin as you did in the previous step. Again, be mindful to make sure you are in the same subdermal plane throughout. That's how this is going to come together without accidentally, unintentionally inverting any of the wound edges. Your final throw is going to be much like your first throw, but in reverse. Rearm the suture needle so that it's now perpendicular, as in the first step. You're going to enter subcuticular through that far edge, and you're going to exit epidermally. You're going to want to make sure that you enter in the same subdermal plane that you've been suturing in all along, and you want to exit epidermal such that you're right across from where you first entered the tissue. And now you're ready to tie it off. In this demonstration, we're using a 4-row nylon suture, so that will require 4 instrument ties to bring it together. And as you see, it brings the 4 flaps of this wound together quite nicely. You can apply this same technique to an infinite number of flap edges. So you just have to continue that subcuticular pattern until you get to the final flap so you can bring the last 2 together. This is a useful technique for some of the odd-looking wounds we get in the emergency department. To learn more about this and other techniques in basic and advanced wound care, visit www.lacerationrepair.com.